Megan Elson,
Megan Hageman,
Ewan Boone.
There is an estimated 1.7 million people living with amputations in the United States.
Approximately 135,000 new amputations take place yearly.
With prosthetic technology, there is hope for each of these amputees to gain back their mobility.
Prosthetic Limbs, impacting people's mobility.
Thank you so much for helping me research the history of prosthetics. Ever since my sister's car accident, I've been really interested. Glad to help.
How is she doing since her amputation?
Pretty good, actually. She gets fit for her prosthetic this afternoon. I'm going with her.
That sounds interesting.
Yup, ready to get started?
Sure, here's something I found about a Frenchman named Ambra Paré. He was a barber surgeon in 1536.
As better methods of amputations arose, fewer people died. This caused a need for developing prostheses. I invented an above-knee device that was made out of iron. It had an adjustable harness and knee lock. The problem is that it was very heavy.
Wow, it says that some even consider him the father of amputation and prosthetic design.
The next major contribution was during the Civil War. The company, A.A. Marks, was established in New York. They were the largest supplier of artificial limbs at the time.
In 1853, I started my company, A.A. Marks, to relieve and help the maimed and deformed. The Civil War is what helped me establish my business. 35,000 soldiers came out of the war with amputated limbs. In 1862, I was commissioned by Congress to provide one free limb to each Union soldier who had sacrificed an arm or leg in America's bloodiest conflict. With so many people, it was nearly impossible to personally measure and fit everyone. So I wrote the Manual of Artificial Limbs, which was a mail-order catalog with descriptions on types of prostheses and how to measure for them. Many people ordered their prostheses with the help of my catalog. By 1907, my company was the largest manufacturer of artificial arms and legs in the world.
During that same time period, James Edward Hanger, who was only 18, joined the Confederate Army. His leg was injured in one of the first battles.
After having my leg amputated on the battleground, the artificial leg I received didn't work to my satisfaction. I spent months whittling barrel staves and scraps of wood until I invented an artificial leg that hinged at the knee. I had it patented and it became known as the Hanger limb. I then started my own prosthetic company that was in direct competition with A.A. Marks.
The company was known as Hanger Prosthetics. It's still in business today.
After the war, Marks and Hanger won several government contracts to furnish new amputee vets and prostheses. Demand for Marks and Hanger prostheses also increased as America's industries took a grim toll on workers' limbs.
Wow, it seems like wars were the driving force to get things done with prosthetics.
I suppose that's because wars provided a large number of new amputees in a short period of time.
World War I was from 1914 to 1919, wasn't it?
Yup, the prosthetist, Alaba, founded a company in Berlin, Germany to supply thousands of World War I veterans with prostheses.
I developed the idea of mass-producing prosthetic parts and to have them delivered directly to the prosthetic clinics. This was the cornerstone for the prosthetic industry. I was the first to use aluminum parts, which made lighter-weight prostheses components. Poplar wood was the most sought-after wood for making prostheses. That soon became difficult to find, so we found that plastics worked very well.
The Alaba company is still one of the major groups today. They make prosthetic parts and send them all over the world.
This article talks about the Artificial Limb Manufacturers and Brace Association, or the ALMBA. It started in 1917 when the Council of National Defense met with the limb and brace manufacturers.
World War I has caused thousands of amputations to take place, and we need to find a way to help all of these amputees.
We also need to conduct more research, but that gets expensive.
What if we create a whole new organization to help meet those needs? That way, we can hopefully interest the government in helping with funding.
Yes, then people might begin to see us more as doctors and professionals, caring for patients, rather than blacksmiths or craftspeople, as they have in the past.
Through the years, ALMBA decided to change their name to the American Orthotic and Prosthetic Association, or the AOPA. It became the unified voice of the orthotic and prosthetic profession and industry. It established a national office in Washington, D.C. to work more effectively with the federal government.
Then came World War II. Because there were so many amputees, the AOPA decided that they had to make some improvements.
The veterans were dissatisfied with the lack of technology and demanded more. The U.S. government met with military companies to improve prosthetic function.
Well, the development of new materials and mechanisms made possible the creation of artificial limbs that more closely mimic the natural body.
Wow, I've really learned a lot today.
Me too. I have to go meet my sister Carrie. Thanks for helping out.
No problem.
Hi, I'm here to meet Mr. Peck at 2 o'clock.
Carrie? Okay, you may find a place in the waiting room. It'll be just a few minutes.
Do you have an appointment here today, or are you just waiting for someone?
Molly, where are your manners?
That's okay. I actually had my leg amputated in Iraq when my Humvee was hit by a bomb. At first, it was really hard for me to accept what happened, but my amputation actually had a positive impact on my life. I did some motivational speaking about it, and I made a career choice because of it. I went back to school to become a prosthetist myself. I finished my degree next spring. It's not uncommon for amputees to become prosthetists themselves. They have the personal experience.
That makes sense. Don't you need that leg?
Oh, no, it's one of my old ones. I am donating it to charity. The charity will probably disassemble it, keeping the parts that they can reuse, then reconstructing it to fit someone else. My leg is going to help the earthquake victims in Haiti.
Why don't you just keep it and wear it again?
Because it doesn't fit anymore. My residual limb, or stump, changes because muscles are used differently now.
So, how many years are you able to keep the prostheses you currently have?
I was able to use my last leg for about 7 years, but that varies.
How does your leg stay on?
It's kept on with a piece of material that is reinforced with silicone gel. It is very snug and has to roll onto my stump. At the bottom of it is a bolt that locks it into place. To take my leg off then, you just press a button.
Excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation, and I thought you'd like to see this example of a leg that is used for running. Legs are made for lots of different purposes, and have special feet or ankles that are made for specific activities.
Wow, you mean I'll still be able to run in a marathon like I used to?
Probably. It depends on the type of leg you choose. Oh, it looks like Mr. Pike is available now. Ready?
You bet. There are body-powered prosthetic limbs, which are controlled by cables connected to a harness on the body. Myoelectric prosthetic limbs are controlled by electrodes placed on the surface of the skin to measure electrical signals from muscle movements, which in turn control the prostheses.
Future advances are researching ways to stimulate the brain and nerves in order to restore the sense of touch in artificial limbs.
These advances are just some of the examples that show how the field of prosthetics is constantly improving and impacting our world.
While the challenges are great, remarkable progress has been made over the past few decades to make prosthetic limbs as close as possible in function to the real thing, impacting the lives of many immensely.